as usual. It seems like we found a niche with the podcast. Apparently, 90s music all around is a big hit on all the socials, especially the TikToks. So I think we're going to try to bring some of that as much as possible around here.
I had no idea that so many 40-year-olds were on TikTok because
Maybe they're only there to find 90s music, and we're here to deliver.
we are called raised on the radio. And I mean, when was
Good
the
point.
radio really booming? Is the 90s. It was
Oh,
probably,
dude, that's a good point. Didn't think about that.
yeah, it's a shame you didn't.
Maybe we
Um,
should have known that from like episode one.
maybe.
240 episodes later, here we are.
You got to figure it out. Well, 238.
I was
So give
close.
us some credit. Give us some credit here, okay? It's well, I said, we're 90s. Would you agree that the 90s were the golden age of radio? Or do you think it was prior to that? For me, and I'm not old enough to know if before the 90s was the golden age of radio, but from what I can remember, because the 2000s is when, the music industry started changing because of Napster and all that shit, right? So the 90s was the last the last big bang of the big boom of, and you had grunge, which changed the world, right?
That's for sure.
Which
Yeah.
changed radio, if you think
Yeah.
about it.
Hmm.
And now those bands are being played on classic radio stations,
But I mean, what about,
classic rock radio stations, I should say. But
I mean, do you think it's easier to say that that 90s, I don't want to say 90s music was better, but that 90s music was more booming or whatever than like 80s rock stuff that you're going to hear on like, I don't know, Keishi or something like that. I don't know how old Keishi, how far back Keishi goes on their music, but like hair metal and, late 70s, early 80s, all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm
well,
just
I
wondering,
I
is it
think the
just
most
for us
records
because of
were
our
sold.
age or what?
Yeah, well, I think the most records were sold in the 90s. Like the 90s was the biggest boom for record sales as well. You tie that into MTV being at its peak and in
Okay,
its
good
golden
point.
age.
Yeah,
So you
gotta
had
add
two
MTV.
mediums to absorb the music. And it really is a shame that music videos aren't, I think, well, look, I think people still like music videos. We just get them a different way now. But so much of my childhood was spent getting home from school, turning on MTV and watching videos until my brain rot. I mean,
Yep.
literally of all
Hmm.
genres of music. And I think that was, I mean, if you think about it in this sense, what better way to expand your musical knowledge, your palette, if you will, for different genres of music than what MTV was doing in the 90s. You'd go from
Me-
grunge or alternative with like 120 minutes to Yo MTV Raps to Headbangers Ball to all of the other various shows they had where they did video countdowns and, you know,
Pimp My Ride.
okay, well, you could
Hey,
say that. They did play a lot of hip hop.
we ended the episode last week talking about Exhibit. I had to bring up Exhibit again.
Yeah, what a bizarre show that was too.
Yeah,
And I know a bunch of comedians have done jokes about it, so I'm not gonna like pretend like I'm making up a joke now. I think like Adam Ray, you know who Adam Ray is?
I do. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, he talks about he was like spur of the like spontaneous in the middle of something. I think he was like getting heckled, and he brought up Pimp My Ride, and he was like, Exhibit would come in, and this 16-year-old would be like, dude, I just wanted a fucking oil change. He's like, I put a popcorn machine where your steering wheel was. Like, if I could just wanted an oil change. Yeah, what a bizarre show. But anyway, yeah, I in my opinion, the '90s was it for radio and for
When
MTV.
when did MTV start? Was that just in the early 90s or was it
No, 80. I'm gonna
it
go
was in the 80s?
83,
Whoa,
84.
really?
Yeah,
And it started as like music TV, like it
just
started music videos and stuff?
music video. Yeah, music
Dang.
television. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
One of the first videos played was Dire Straits. I remember it was like a animation video, and it was like
Yeah, I remember
if
that.
you watch it now, it's like okay, but back then it's like
Right.
mind's blown.
Yeah.
And then
You
Thriller
didn't
comes
mention
out, and
you didn't mention TRL a while ago.
TRL was huge,
Yeah.
huge,
Wonder where
and
Carson Daly is now.
he does a show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw a clip of some was whatever show. Homie is bloated.
I figured you were gonna say that.
Woo, man. But anyway, yeah, we ended the show last week or toward the tail end just talking about we looked up Loudwire's list of like forgotten rock radio hits of the 90s, and I think some of the ones we found we were like, oh yeah. And then some we were like, I don't even know that I want to play that because that doesn't sound familiar at all. So it just got me thinking about different ones that I kind of remember. And then I looked them up and I'm like, oh yeah, this song was huge. And that's the other thing too. It's like, forget about these bands, but you don't realize the success. And I'm going to say this in the real music industry, not in the days of streaming, the success the song had. We're not talking about going viral on TikTok. We're talking about sold. They sold some fucking units and they got played on radio everywhere. Like, to me, it's different.
Yeah.
It's just different to me.
Yeah. I mean,
Not
I've
to
got,
say,
I've got a list here of songs, and some of these songs I tried to pinpoint songs that were kind of like around like the music that me and you both enjoy now. But there are some songs that I have in there too that I'm not necessarily gonna listen to it all the time, but I feel like it was a big song, or if it wasn't, there was some kind of nostalgia that hit me with the song that I feel like I heard it a lot at that time. I don't know if it was in, you know, Aeropostales or what, but I know that I know I heard a lot of these songs, a lot, and like I think a few of them I have were probably like Z1077 big time songs that were played a lot too. So
give me one. Give me a nostalgia song for you. And I knew also, I want to say something. I knew you were an Aeropostale kid.
I
I
wasn't
just
really
knew
actually.
you just,
I
oh,
don't
okay.
live near an Aeropostale. I couldn't have been. I was a Walmart kid growing up, my
Okay.
man.
All right. Fair enough.
Okay, so actually,
I wasn't even a Walmart kid. I got hand-me-downs from people we didn't even know. Okay. I didn't have a big brother. I just got hand-me-downs from randoms. Go ahead.
okay, so what do you remember? I'm just bringing this up. You're gonna hate it, I'm sure. But do you remember the song "Hey Leonardo" by Blessed Union of Souls?
Absolutely. Love Blessed Union of Souls.
You do. Okay. Well, see, I never know how to judge you,
They're
man.
my karaoke go-to. I
Really?
believe by Blessed. Oh yeah.
I believe. I don't know if I know that one. Was that a big one too?
It's their biggest song.
No
Homie.
way. Really? It's bigger than
Yeah.
"Hey Leonardo"?
Yeah. I think so.
Huh. Okay. I got to hear it then.
Well, let's do Hey Leonardo first.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe is crushing Hey Leonardo.
I just heard the song the other day and I was like, I totally forgot that song existed.
And I guarantee you no one knows this is the group that does this song.
Oh, I'm sure not.
No, not even not a chance. This is actually a good one. I'm proud of you.
Whoa.
Wait, hold on. Did you know what Blessed Union of Souls looked like?
I don't think so.
Here we go. Now I'm
All right.
excited to play I Believe for you. I Believe is
She
nothing
don't
like this.
care about my car, and she don't care about my money. And that's real good, cause I don't got a lot to spend. But if I did, it wouldn't mean nothing. She likes me for
D2
me,
record. We're good.
not because I look like Tyson Beckford with the charm of Robert Redford oozing out my ears. But what she sees are my faults and indecisions, my insecure conditions.
I'll be honest, when I heard the song, I was pissed. I was like, what did they do? What happened? What happened to my favorite singer?
Okay, so I
You'll
believe
see
was
the
out
difference.
before I believe was out before this is what you're saying. And
Yes.
they changed it up for this song. This song, I don't know if they knew it at the time, but this song is like it's just nothing but 90s references
Yeah.
the whole way through it. I
Oh,
don't know
they
if
knew it
they
at the time. They know.
you
Of
think
course they
well, no,
fucking knew it.
I understand they knew, but I don't know if they knew that it like this song is a timestamp for like that 30 years later this song was going to be a timestamp for that time period. You know what I mean?
Someone said something.
You think
Someone said, yeah, for sure.
had to?
Here, we'll finish this.
The pillow that I shed, she don't care about my big screen.
What a
My
crowd.
collection of DVDs. Things like that just never matter.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really like that song because they just, yeah. Here, you're. This is. I can't believe you don't know what this is. Okay.
I probably do
And
once I
also, it's funny to me that you didn't know that he was the dude singing. But whatever. Here we go. Yeah, this is my karaoke song. It's my
okay.
go-to. I once did. Oh, I'll tell you a funny story. So I was once in Los Angeles, and I went to a bar. It wasn't a karaoke bar necessarily, but it was a bar that did karaoke. It's in West Hollywood, and it was like the spot for 20 somethings to go do karaoke. So, and the group I was with, they're like, we're all doing it. You have to do it. And I'm not a huge karaoke guy. Like, I don't like to do karaoke, but they're like, everyone's doing it. It's not a choice. You came out, you got to do a song. I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. Go sign yourself up. So I do. So a bunch of dudes right before me did Boys to Men, End of the Road, right?
Wow.
They weren't good. They weren't great, right? But it was okay. And then so I go up and do this song, and I see those dudes in the back of the bar, and I said during one of the musical breaks, I said, those dudes that just did End of the Road are really uncomfortable right now. And I got the finger from two of them, and I was like, I'm winning. I did something right here.
I have
Anyway,
okay, you did this song by yourself?
yeah,
How many beers and shots were in you before you were able to get up there and do
two
karaoke
beers,
in front of people?
two beers, 2 beers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like I said, I was with a group. I'm not going to try to even explain who I was with, but I was with a lot of girls that like to do karaoke, and they were like, so I felt this pressure of like a singer. And none of these bitches can sing. I know they can't, and they're peer pressuring me. I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna go up there and rock I Believe. So here we go.
Walk blindly to the light and reach out for his hand. Don't ask any questions and don't try to understand. Open up your mind and then open up your heart, and you will see that you and me are very far apart. 'Cause I believe
Some rules.
that love is the answer. I believe love will find a way.
All right, we won't play the whole thing, but you get the picture.
Yeah. I did not know that until the chorus.
Oh, you know the chorus at least.
Yeah.
Okay, very
I-
very successful.
I thought
song.
I thought I was about ready to get reamed because I was like, I don't know this song at all. And then once the chorus hit, I was like, oh, okay.
It's one of those. It fits right into what we're talking about, the forgotten songs of the '90s, man.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love that band, that group, whatever you want to call them. PM Dawn's another one. Not the same thing, but they had a song called Die Without You that I've done karaoke on before. Another forgotten one from the '90s. And a lot of people didn't realize that PM Dawn was who they were or looked like what they. And they got dissed by who did they get? They got dissed by a rapper. I don't remember who it was. It doesn't matter. So anyway, I love that pick.
You're
I love
welcome.
that pick. But when I heard that song, I was like, oh, what? This is goofy. But yeah, I love that guy's voice. Love it so much.
So what's your first pick?
Remember the song Stars by a band called Hum?
I don't know.
It's been covered quite a few times by heavier bands than they were. It was in a commercial. It is from one of the most underrated records of the '90s called You'd Prefer an Astronaut. And when we talk about like front to back great records, and just such an I wish Al was on here because I'd love to know, A, if he even knows who they are, B, what he thinks of them, because rhythm section wise, drummer, bass player, forget about it. These dudes, so good. I think you'll know this song once you hear it. But yeah, this was in it was in a few commercials, and I think it was in maybe like not an Aeropostale, but what's the other big one?
Hollister?
No. Do they have commercials? Does Hollister have commercials?
I don't know. I'm just
I don't think I've ever. Gap. I think it was in like a Gap
Oh, yeah,
commercial or
okay.
like an Abercrombie commercial, something
Gotcha.
like that. Yeah.
The train to Mars. She's out back counting
Oh, yeah.
stars.
I know this
Yeah.
song. Yeah.
Huge hit.
She thinks she missed the train to Mars. She's out back counting stars.
That guitar tone is so good. Like I said, long song. And we're talking cool riffs, man. Yeah. God, I want to make a music video like a 90s. They just made no sense. It was just nothingness.
Yeah.
It really was just, it was a band performing or a group performing and then weird visuals of weird things.
Yeah.
They didn't have to make sense. I love that.
You know what also is funny? So, like you said, that guitar tone was awesome. I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like you could take a guitar tone from a single guitar like that from each decade and just somebody hit that guitar tone and you would know what decade that's from. Like
Yeah,
that,
I do.
like,
Yeah.
that's 90s. Like, there's no way that's not 90s.
Yeah, I agree. But I feel that guitar tone specifically that we just heard stood the test of time, in my opinion. Like I feel, I don't know. I hear a lot of bands sort of recreating or just sort of using that type of tone now.
Yeah.
Like I said, much heavier. And my favorite cover of that was done by, I think I played you something by them recently, but Evergreen Terrace,
Yeah.
hardcore band. They did a covers record. It was called Writer's Block, which is such a great name for an album that's nothing but covers. And they did that song, and it was so good for them. It was a true Evergreen Terrace cover. And there have been a couple other bands that have done it, but anyway, yeah, love that song. And people. Sadly, I think people know that from the commercials it was on Beavis and Butthead maybe, which I think made it wildly popular. We didn't even talk
Yeah.
about that when we're talking about MTV. How many music videos
Oh
did
yeah.
that
That's
show
right.
make popular?
Yeah.
Pantera,
Yeah.
fucking Suicidal Tendencies,
The
like,
one that has always stuck in my head from that show was Black Hole Sun by
of course,
Soundgarden.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not that they needed it, but
Well,
yeah,
no, but
yeah.
still.
Neither did Pantera, but
But still, it's a crazy. I wish they would either bring that show back for that purpose
didn't they?
or they did, but I don't think it would. I'm saying like specifically for that
Just
purpose.
them watching music videos.
Yeah. Or like
Yeah,
help like try to break newer bands with it or something or you don't do Beavis and Butthead, just do the same concept with something with some other show.
some other characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
isn't that what the internet is and what we're doing right now?
Kind of sorta. Yeah.
It's just reaction videos. It's like
That's true, I
it's
guess.
the same.
We are Beavis
But
and Butthead.
yeah, what else you got?
Let's go back in the vault here. Let's see. Do you remember Skilo?
Of course I do. But we're not going to play I Wish, are we?
We don't have to. That's what I brought up. We
Everyone
don't play
remembers
it.
that song. I don't
Okay.
think that's.
Okay. How about Everlast, what it's like?
I'll tell you what, I love that song. And that it actually, I have a vivid memory of listening to that song during a certain point in time. But that record, Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, so underrated. That
Yeah.
dude made a great fucking record. Great fucking record. He's really talented. And in my opinion, he gets it because I really don't think he gives a fuck about. No, no, hear me out. I know I said you got to just have the fuck it, but like, I don't think he gives a fuck about the music industry or what people expect of him. I think he
Right.
has an idea and he goes with it.
Yeah.
And I don't think his intent, I don't think is I'm going to be wildly successful with this. I just enjoy it. It was something I wanted to write and I did it.
Well,
But that record's really good.
he's another guy that owns all of his stuff too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he owns all of his stuff.
Yeah.
All of the House of Pain stuff, all of the Everlast stuff that was on a major. Yeah, he owns the masters to all of that. He talks about that. Anytime somebody wants to, rap about the music industry with him, he's like, that's one of the first things he mentions because he says with streaming, the best way to make money off of it is owning your masters. And I watched a video last night of MC Search from Third Base talking about that. He was actually, and one day we'll have to watch it because he gets into really, really in the weeds music industry stuff because he was in the music industry outside of being an artist too. He discovered Nas and
Okay.
got Nas his first deal. So he really knows the point system but he talked about having 50 to 60 million monthly listeners on Spotify and it meant more to him to get all of that 0.0038 because he owned the masters versus given, I guess 65 I don't remember exactly how he put it but like 65% ownership to someone else, but he
Right.
still gets paid off a different way through whatever, but he talked about that too. Yeah, What It's Like's good. You remember Ends? That was the other single from that.
Now off the top of my head.
Really? Yeah, so What It's Like, I was going to a party and it was just after a guy knew died. And I was in a car, and I knew the guy, but I wasn't close to him. Let's just say that. But I was in a car with someone who was. And Everlast, What It's Like came on the radio, listening to the radio in a car. Can you believe that? And the dude was in the back getting stoned, and that song came on, and he started getting emotional. Thinking about his friend, but also, I guess, the lyrics of this song was hitting him in a way, and in a kind of way in the moment. It was just feeling the moment. I'll never forget that. And I always listen to that song differently after that point, you know?
Really? Yeah.
Like, yeah, just the lyrics and yeah, the approach of it, I just sort of, it's different now. You know, I remember first hearing it being, this is catchy, this is good, great guitar riff again, so simple, but so great, so memorable. Anyone who plays guitar and has picked up an acoustic guitar, I guarantee you, at some point they stumbled across that riff. Then, boom, boom, blam. Yeah, but yeah, we can do a little bit of this. God, young Everlast, look at him.
Look at Patrick Blair being a lyric guy a little bit at one point.
Yeah, I try not to be, but sometimes I have to be, I guess. This riff. If you're a guitar player, you have picked up a guitar and you've heard
Yeah.
two of those notes. You're like, wait, I know that. What is that?
Yeah.
We've all seen the man at the liquor store begging for your change.
But we got lyrics.
The hair on his face is dirty, dreadlocks.
This goes back into what we were talking about when we were listening to Chevelle when he was like, the lyric was I heard, but he was putting an L on it. Do you hear how he went into that opening line?
Yeah.
Whoa! Like you hit no W, sir. There was no W in that. Sometimes it works that way.
Locked in for the man. He asked a man for what he could spare with shame in his eyes.
He's got a really cool singing style though too. I want to point that out. And a lot of people, him coming from House of Pain and then doing this, people were confused by it. And then I heard some people like, this is country as fuck. I'm like, no. You're misunderstanding what's going on here. You're really not hearing it the way, but we all hear things differently, but that's not the way I heard it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hear it country. I hear it like a kinda like
Bluesy.
yeah, bluesy, like a raspy rock, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever listened to any of his later stuff like this?
Here and
Like
there.
acoustic driven,
Yeah.
him and a guitar.
Yeah.
He's got good tunes, man.
Yeah.
He knows how to write a song, that's for sure. Again, not for everybody, but he knows how to write a song.
Get a job, you fucking slobs, all he replied. God forbid you ever had to walk a mile in his shoe. Said you really might know what it's like to sing the blues. Yeah, then you really might know what it's like. Yeah, then you really might know what it's like. Yeah, then you really might know what it's like. Yeah, then you really might know what it's like.
It's a good song. I like it. Super talented guy, man. I personally don't really like this song, but I was just, when we had gone through that list last week, I was thinking about songs like this or like bands like this because we played The Rentals, which by the way was the bass player from Weezer. We didn't even talk about that
Oh,
on the
really?
show. Yeah,
Huh.
the original bass player of Weezer. That was him. That was his
Wow.
band. And I remember saying, yeah, there's so many bands like this that I didn't really dig. Over the years, I've come to appreciate some of it. Like The Rentals, like actually after our show, I went and listened to a few more songs from that record that song was on. I was like, okay, fine. Like it's not something I would listen to on the regular, but I understand it's good. It's good. I mean, I don't like the band Cake, right?
Right.
But I get it. I get why people do, and I get why I have an appreciation for them writing the kind of songs they write. You know,
Yeah.
I still think it takes talent. I still think they're good. It's just some of it is just
Yeah, it's a different style. Did you ever like I'm assuming this is a no, but did you ever like the band Crash Test Dummies?
kind of.
Really, it's kind of the same thing to me. Like it's definitely a different
See, but I would argue again, like
style
that
of music.
song got really popular, That
Yeah. Yeah.
that record that album that's from had really good songs.
Yeah, it had a few other ones. I can't.
Yeah.
What were
I
the
don't know
other?
about single. I don't think they had another single, but I mean, there were some. Actually, I think they did, but there were some good songs on that record. Again, it's not something I've listened to
Yeah.
lately, anyway. But here, I'll do this. I'm not even going to tell you who it is. I just want to. I think you know this. But again, huge song. Talking about commercials and shit, like it was all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
This is that's one of the bad things about the 90s though is like this song and even the stars.
Yeah,
Like for me in my brain, there were so many bands out in the 90s that were had these singles that were big, but like I didn't know who the band was. And if you would have told me it was another band, I would have listened to you and be like, okay. You know what I
that's
mean?
the point of our list.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of this band name before, but I definitely know this song.
I'll be honest with you, me neither. Didn't remember it.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I just remembered the song for whatever reason. And I watched a movie last week after we finished the episode, and it was a song like this, and it got me thinking about uh, bands from this time period and songs like this. I think it was from Cruel Intentions, maybe not this song, but the song I was listening to,
Mhm.
or one of those. Anyway,
Breathe it in and breathe it out and pass it on. It's almost out. We're so creative, so much more. We're high above, but on the floor. It's not a habit, it's cool. I feel alive with you.
this song reeks of the '90s, dude.
If you would have told me this was the Cranberries, I would have believed you.
Yeah, yeah. The Cardigans, the
But even
Cranberries. Yeah.
it sounds like the what like zombie, like the you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
don't be rude.
You don't have it, you're on the other side.
Nice bass line.
Deeper you stick it.
All right, let's get to the hook.
Everywhere I
Oh, Jesus.
alive. If you don't have it, you're on the other side. I'm not an addict. Maybe that's a
All right, I'm not gonna wait another 2 minutes for a hook, so we get it. You remember the song though. That's the point.
Yeah. I'm starting to think that we remembered wrong and there's not actually a hook in that song. We were already halfway through it.
I'm not an addict.
I know.
Is there a hook, or is it just the?
I don't know. I couldn't have told you that was the name of the song either.
I
Maybe
thought there
that's
was.
it. Maybe that's just her saying that is, I don't know.
I thought there was a point where they rocked out, and there was a.
Do
Well,
you remember? I guess it's called The Laws, the LA Laws. There She Goes. Do you remember that song?
there
Yep.
she goes.
Yep.
That was from So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Oh, really?
Speaking of songs from movies in the '90s, that's a good one. Not an underrated song, an underrated movie. I don't want to play that song. Do we have to?
No, we don't have to.
That song gives me diarrhea.
Okay. What's your next one then?
Give me another one. Redeem
Oh,
yourself.
man. Redeem myself. How about Everclear? I will buy you a new life.
Everclear was too big. Everyone remembers Everclear, dude.
Well, okay.
Like, there's a big four of grunge in that time period, right? The big four is, for most people, is Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
My big four would be Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots. That would be my big four. I would
Okay.
replace Soundgarden with Stone Temple Pilots. But Everclear was like they're climbing up the mountain, right? They're there. They had a lot of hits, dude. A lot of hits. At least 4, right?
But you would consider Everclear grunge?
Sure. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know, dude. Well, you maybe need to listen to Everclear again. But yes, you're right. Well, it was Santa Monica,
Santa
I Will Buy You
Monica.
Life.
Yeah.
What else was there?
There's more than 2. There has to be.
I know those. You're right. Here, I'm gonna look it up.
Santa
Everclear,
Monica was huge. I will buy you a new life, or buy whatever it's called.
Father of Mine.
Father of Mine. I will
Mm,
buy you a new life. Everything to everyone.
oh, dude, AM Radio. I forgot about that song.
Heroin Girl was big.
Do you remember AM Radio?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had several.
Art Alexakis is that lead singer's name.
Everclear put out a new song last year.
Mm,
That's crazy.
I don't know if I can do it.
Probably
I
not
thought
get
that
it.
dude lost his voice. I thought he couldn't sing anymore.
Oh, I don't know.
Give me one more and then I'll give you another one.
Citizen King, Better Days.
We've already done it on the show.
Damn it. I was trying. Vertical Horizon, everything you want, everything you want.
I know that.
Oh, you have to know Vertical Horizon. They had 2 big songs. Everything You Want and You're a God.
That also sounds like a B action thriller movie title. I hate that band name so much.
Like, yeah, kind of it does, doesn't it?
It sounds terrible. What is it called? Everything You Want?
Yep.
Everything You Want and You're a God?
Those are their 2 big ones, yeah. I think you would know both of them.
4 minutes long. God damn you, 90s
I figured
bands.
if it was big enough that you would be able
Oh,
to.
I know this song. Yeah, absolutely. From the riff, I know what it is, yeah. This is a good song.
Somewhere there's speaking.
Never would have told.
It's already coming in. Oh, and it's rising at the back of your mind. You never could get it unless you were fed it. And now you're here and you don't.
What year did this come out? Is this late 90s?
I don't know.
I feel like this is, well, it doesn't matter. Because what was Smashing Pumpkins, Jesus Christ. Matchbox 20. Matchbox 20 was like 97-ish.
Yeah, this was 99.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay.
Know why.
Dude, I was way done with listening to music like this in 1999. Let me
Well,
just
it's
tell you
fun.
that.
Well, it's fun. Again, I mean, there's an age difference between us, but again, like you mentioned Matchbox 20, and it's funny because I'm not putting this band in the same echelon as Matchbox 20 or Goo Goo Dolls, but like when I started listening to Matchbox 20 and Goo Goo Dolls, this was also like in that sphere. And it all kind of, again, same radio stations probably, but it all kind of mixed in together in the playlist.
It's the post-grunge era of radio. It was Fuel, Matchbox 20, Goo Goo Dolls, this band, fucking who's another big post shit. I have to think about it. We'll listen to this.
But under skin knees and the skid marks past the places where you used to learn. You howl and listen and wait for the echoes of angels who won't return. He's everything you want, he's everything you need, he's everything inside of you that you wish you could be. He says all the right things at exactly the right time, but he means nothing to you and you don't know why.
Yeah, that was definitely a weird time in music, in my opinion. It was just
Late 90s.
yeah, it was weird because you had stuff like that, but then you had like new metal was starting to come around and hip hop was really blowing up in the mainstream. It was just a weird time for like mainstream music. What was another? God, it's bumming me out that I can't think of other bands that sounded like that.
So like the Wallflowers.
They were way before. Wallflowers were like
Are they?
95 probably.
Okay. Again, I probably listened at the same time. Like Fastball was around that same time too.
Ugh.
I know you hate them, but I'm just saying like
Oh.
same kind of sound.
How close is Bush to that grunge Mount Rushmore? Where are they at? Pretty close, right?
Like as far as how close they are to top 4.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Got to be up there, right?
I would Would they be top 10 for me? Yeah. Oh man, I don't know, dude. That's a hard question. I would have to think about it. I would have to actually probably put pen to paper on that one and try to make my list.
When we're talking about biggest grunge bands of all time,
Yeah.
they got to be in the top 10, I think. They would be in mine for sure. I don't know about everybody's. But
I
let's
mean,
shift
I
here.
love Bush. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, Bush is good. Did we ever play that video from Woodstock 99 after the whole Limp Bizkit thing? And they even talk about it in that bullshit documentary. Man, we talked about the Firefest documentary. You talk about a documentary that just makes me angry. It's that Woodstock 99 documentary and all those pricks
Yeah, we
that put
definitely
on the
talked about
festival that fucking did not take accountability for anything that happened.
Yeah.
Man, but they did talk about, after Limp Bizkit, Bush still had to play.
Yeah.
And like they talk about like Bush kind of brought everybody down to
Right.
a reasonable level of sanity.
Yeah. And he was young too.
They don't get enough credit for that either. Not near enough, I don't think, in my opinion. So let's shift here because we just talked about that whatever that song was that you mentioned that was in So I Married an Axe. So when we're talking about 90s and we're talking about 90s movies, some of the best movie soundtracks. If I challenge you to be like, what's the biggest song from the 90s that you can remember being from a movie that really, really, A, was a popular song, did well as a song, but also it's synonymous with the movie, if you had to name one. And it can't be a song that was brought back, right? It can't be like
Okay.
Forrest
I can
Gump and you're playing the fucking Jefferson Airplane or whatever.
I Will Always Love You from The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston. We've talked about it on that show before. But was that song a big song by itself, or was it just a big song that was synonymous with that
It was
movie?
huge by itself, but also a
It
cover,
was.
so it
Okay.
doesn't count.
Oh, it was. Okay. All right.
What?
So
Wait, hold on.
did we? I don't know if I knew that was a
You don't know
cover.
that Whitney Houston covered that? That's a Dolly Parton song.
Oh, yeah, I do. We even talked about that with Al. My bad.
Okay.
Whenever
All
we
right.
played that
Okay.
video with Whitney Houston. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Then I'm probably going with your top pick as well. So I'm going to go with Bohemian Rhapsody from Wayne's World.
No. But that came out before the 90s. It's got to be a song that came out in the 90s too.
Okay. How about Iris for City of Angels by Goo Goo
Great
Dolls?
pick. Great pick.
Okay.
And I knew you were going to pick it if I asked
I
you
know
the
you did.
question.
I know.
I'm surprised you went Wayne's World first. That's a great pick. But we can't play that because we've played it so
I
many
know.
times
I
on
get
the
it.
show.
I get it.
But that's a good pick. That's what I'm talking about, though. Yeah, absolutely. And I
Okay.
would
I mean,
argue that song helped make the movie bigger.
So how about Fly Like an Eagle from Space Jam by Sia?
I won't allow it, but I will.
Why? Come on,
How
dude.
about Kiss from a Rose from the Batman Forever soundtrack?
That we already played that once before.
I'm just saying, if we're going to talk about Seal.
But also like synonymous with a movie. If I think about Space Jam, that is one of the songs I think of. The only other song that I would think of would be an R. Kelly song, and I refuse to do that. So
Why? Something happened? Mine would be Regulate by Warren G from the Above the Rim soundtrack.
Okay.
Which again, I think we haven't played that, have we?
I don't know.
And that's from one of the best hip hop albums of all time. Warren G does not get enough credit for that record. It truly is it's a hip hop classic in my opinion. Front to back, awesome songs, and it was kicked off by that song. We don't have to play that here. That's all.
What about I haven't seen the movie in a long time, so I don't even know. But I also did Gangster's Paradise from Dangerous Minds with Coolio. But do
That's a good one.
if you think of that movie, do you think of that song?
For sure. That movie is terrible. That song and that music video for that song made us all go, well, this movie's going to be great. That movie sucked. That movie's awful. You know what? Coolio, rest in peace. We're gonna do you got the number one. Fuck that. I love it. I like Coolio a lot, by the way.
I do too. We played some Coolio on here before.
I own several of his records. Do you want to do the actual version or do you want him doing it spontaneously a cappella with LV on Howard Stern in 1995? I feel like we got to do the Howard Stern one, don't we?
I've never seen that before.
You haven't?
Oh, listen to that. You think that's loud enough?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Coolio with the flow live on Howard
Be
Stern.
sure to not put too much reverb on it.
Check this out. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone.
Yeah, the only thing people remember about this movie is the song.
Yeah.
but I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you're walking, or you and your homies might be lined in chalk. I really hate the trip, but I gotta low. As they croak, I see myself in the pistol smoke. Fool, I'm the kind of G the little homies wanna be like, on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the still life.
Been spending most their lives living in a gangster's paradise.
92.3.
Been spending most
Dude, what a
their
voice.
lives living in a gangster's
Studio
paradise.
and LP.
We keep spending most our lives living in a gangster's
Got that
paradise.
nice spoon in the
Keep
house.
spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise.
Look at the situation they got me facing. I can't live a normal life. I was raised by the state, so I gotta be down with the hood team. Too much television watching got me chasing dreams. I'm an educated fool with money on my mind. Mac 10 in my hand and a gleam in my eye. I'm a loped out gangster, set tripping banger. And my homies is down, so don't arouse my anger. Fool, death ain't nothing but a heartbeat away. I'm living life, do or die. What can I say? I'm 23 now, but will I live to see 24 the way things is going? I don't know.
Tell me why.
That is the oldest looking 23-year-old
I was thinking the same
in the
thing.
history of
I was like,
23-year-olds.
How in the hell are you only 20?
He might have been lying,
You think?
but also it might have taken a while for this song to come out too. That's the other thing.
I mean, I guess. I also want to. I need to look and see what other. What's this guy's name? LV? Is that what they were calling him?
Yeah.
Yeah, LV. Does he do other like over time?
I
Has he done
believe-
other like collabs with people and stuff?
Yes, but I believe LV is passed, sir.
Well, I wasn't saying I need to look up current stuff. I meant like over like.
Yeah, go look up LV.
Okay, all right.
Are we so blind to see
Oh, yeah.
that the ones we hurt are you and me?
Yeah, yeah.
Been spending most our lives living in a gangster's
I was
paradise.
stern in the
Keep spending
house.
most our lives living in a gangster's
Yeah.
paradise. We keep spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise.
Homie, we on
Keep
K-Rock,
spending
homie.
most our lives
Don't
living
say right,
in a
homie.
gangster's paradise.
Power and the money, money and the power. Minute after minute, hour after hour. Everybody's running, but half of them ain't looking what's going on in the kitchen. But I don't know what's cooking. They say I got to learn, but nobody's here to teach me. If they can't understand, how can they reach me? I guess they can't, I guess they won't, I guess they front. That's why I got my hand on the pump. Oh.
Been spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise.
92.3.
Been spending most our lives living in a gangster's
Julio and
paradise.
LV.
We keep spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise. We've been spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise.
Sing it, Howard.
Been living most our lives living in a
Okay.
That got bad quick. But also, man, like that is one of those songs like we've talked about before that like there's no better beat to match that song than that. Like that is absolutely perfect. It's like suspenseful, almost like horror movie kind of suspenseful beat behind him. But then but not that you give a shit, but when you add the lyrics into that too, like it all matches perfectly.
Coolio gets shit on a lot by hip hop heads, and I don't know why. Coolio was dope, and that's one of the best beats of all time, for sure.
Straight